Ben, but is there a way out where both sides claim victory? I mean, we have China's premier already saying, yes, we do want to avert a trade war. We will pledge to open markets with the U.S. and stop demanding U.S. companies transfer technology to China. I mean, maybe the U.S. does get China to, say, buy more natural gas or semiconductor chips, and both sides win. What are your thoughts there?
I think it's fine, and I don't mind Mr. Trump trying to improve U.S. exports, although we're already at full employment. I don't know how much more employment we can take without really getting into inflationary levels. So I'm a little concerned about trying to juice up the job market much. But look, we do not need to have people threatening each other. China is a proud country. They are a country of some of the most capable people in the world. They have lifted themselves out of the muck and become an economic super-duper power. They're not going to want to be pushed around by the United States.
Yeah, but they did it. But the fight has been that China did it on the backs of U.S. know-how. What's your reaction to that?
Well, they did some of it on the backs of U.S. know-how, but there's plenty that they didn't do on the backs of U.S. know-how. There's plenty they did on the backs of their own hard-working, very capable, well-educated labor force. Can you imagine if we could get a labor force similar to the best of the Chinese labor force in this country?
Yeah, but they're paid $4,500. I mean, the per capita income is $4,800.
I understand that, but on the other hand, they're very hard-working, productive people. We need more people like those people. But the idea of going around saying, I'm tougher than you are, I'm going to scare you, I'm going to make you open your markets. What do we care if they open their markets or not? We're already selling them plenty, and when they have when we have trade deficits with them, they just turn right around and largely buy U.S. bonds with them, so the money gets recycled back into the U.S. That's not a bad thing.
I hear what you're saying. Larry Kudlow telling Fox Business, we're nowhere near a trade war. Stop with the economic hypochondria. This is a process. We hear what you're saying. Let's move on to this story about Russia. President Trump getting tougher on Russia. Basically slapping Vladimir Putin's inner circle with U.S. sanctions today. The U.S. targeting 7 Russian oligarchs, 12 companies they own or control, 17 Russian officials as well, freezing assets, forbidding U.S. companies from doing business with them. It's in response to what the administration is saying is, quote, Russia's malignant behavior worldwide. I mean, this is everything from oil to weapons trading to the banking industry over there in Russia. That's what the oligarchs control. What's your reaction, Ben, to this story?
My reaction is that this has nothing to do with economics. It's a fascinating thing, but can you even think of the last thing besides vodka that you might have bought that's made in Russia? This has nothing to do with economics. This has to do with the fact that this is a country which is a provocative country. I think we must never, ever forget that Russia won the Second World War, and we owe them eternal thanks for them, and we should really be friendlier with them. But on the other hand, they are provocative and they're killers.
Yeah, White House Communications Director Mercedes Schlapp commenting on these sanctions earlier today. Let's roll tape.
The administration is holding Russia accountable. Obviously, these are dealing with the issues of election meddling, among other things. This administration has been tough on Russia. We've worked closely with Ukraine. We saw the action that we took in expelling 60 Russian spies from our country. This is a continuing process that we're working on to ensure that Russia's bad behavior ends, especially when it comes to the issue of election meddling in this area and across the globe.
Okay, no one can argue that the Trump administration is getting tough on Russia here. But, Ben, Russia has shown in the past it can blow off sanctions aimed at individuals. And it's been suggested the U.S. should launch an aggressive information campaign to damage Putin's support, his popular support. Would that work?
No, not at all. The Russians love Putin because he stands up for Russia and makes Russia. He was the originator of the idea of make Russia great again. And I think Trump sort of stole that idea and made it into make America great again. Look, again, Russia is not to be pushed around. They're not to be trifled with. If we want to really take a stand against Russia, we build up our defense. The Heritage Foundation just came out with a report saying the American military was weak. This is crazy in an economy as rich as ours to not have an adequate military. That's much better than making threats. That's much better than kicking out businessmen or putting sanctions on diplomatic personnel. A strong defense will get us a lot farther than tit-for-tat expulsion.